The polished mahogany doors of Hamilton Industries conference rooms stood before me as my sister Katherine's voice carried through them. This is a private executive meeting. Family only, well, important family only. I adjusted my simple black blazer, Brunello Cucinelli, though they'd never recognize true luxury if it didn't scream its brand name, and maintain my composure. Little did they know that Olivia Hamilton, their supposedly unsuccessful middle child, was actually the CEO of Phoenix Enterprises, the very company about to acquire their failing empire. Of course, Katherine, I replied smoothly. I'll just wait outside. Actually, she smirked, could you pick up coffee for everyone? Since you're so good at service industry tasks. If only she knew that while she played corporate executive in our father's company, I controlled a portfolio worth billions. Phoenix Enterprises had spent the last year secretly acquiring Hamilton Industries' debt, preparing for this very day. Grande lattes all around? I asked, watching her preen in her knockoff Chanel. Make sure Dad's is sugar-free, she called after me. And don't forget, this is a confidential meeting about the merger offer. Though, she laughed, it's not like you'd understand any of it anyway. I walked away thinking about the documents waiting in my other office, the penthouse suite of Phoenix Tower. The mysterious merger offer they were so excited about was mine, orchestrated through a network of shell companies. Hamilton Industries was drowning in debt, though they were too arrogant to admit it. My phone buzzed, a message from my CFO, all set for the 2 p.m. reveal. Hamilton Industries board members are confirmed for attendance. I stepped into my waiting car, directing my driver not to the coffee shop, but to Phoenix Tower. In my private suite, I changed into my CEO attire, a custom-made Tom Ford suit that cost more than Katherine's monthly salary. Miss Phoenix, my assistant entered with a stack of papers. The final merger documents are ready. Hamilton Industries' financial situation is even worse than we projected. I reviewed the numbers while my team prepared me for the afternoon meeting. Hamilton Industries, my father's pride and joy, had been mismanaged to the brink of collapse. Katherine's extravagant business expenses and my father's outdated leadership had driven the company into the ground. Another message from Katherine, where's the coffee? The potential buyer's representatives will be here at 2. Try to be useful for once. I smiled, thinking of the look that would cross her face when she realized who those representatives really worked for. Success tastes sweetest when served with a side of revelation. My father's voice echoed in my memory from countless family dinners. Katherine understands business. She's a true Hamilton. Unlike some people who couldn't even handle a junior analyst position. What he never knew was that I'd quit that entry-level job because I was already running Phoenix Enterprises, building an empire while they thought I was finding myself. Your shareholders report, Miss Phoenix. My assistant handed me another document. Our stock hit another record high this morning. I scanned the numbers, billions in assets, successful acquisitions across 3 continents, and now the perfect opportunity to show my family exactly who they'd underestimated. The morning passed quickly as I prepared for the afternoon's revelation. My team had orchestrated everything perfectly. The shell companies that had purchased Hamilton Industries' debt, the careful manipulation of their stock price, and the merger offer they couldn't refuse. At 1:45 p.m. I stood in my private elevator descending to the garage where my driver waited. In less than an hour, my family would learn that the daughter they'd kicked out of meetings was about to become their owner. The board members are all assembled, my assistant confirmed through my earpiece. Your father and sister are still waiting for the buyer's representatives. Perfect, I replied, sliding into my car. Let's show them what a real executive looks like. The drive to Hamilton Industries took exactly 12 minutes, time I spent reviewing their desperate financial situation. Katherine's unauthorized expenses, my father's failed expansions, the lawsuits they'd tried to hide from shareholders. I stepped out of my car, now every inch the powerful CEO they'd never believed I could be. The security guard, paid by my company, though they didn't know it, nodded respectfully as I entered the building. Tell the board, I instructed my assistant through my earpiece, that Phoenix Enterprises CEO is about to arrive. After all, some meetings are worth being fashionably late to, especially when you're about to buy the company that kicked you out of its conference room. At precisely 2 p.m., I strode into Hamilton Industries' conference room, my heels clicking purposefully on the marble floor. The room fell silent as I entered, not as Olivia Hamilton, the disappointing daughter, but as Phoenix, the CEO they'd been desperately hoping would save their company. My apologies, Katherine jumped up, not recognizing me in my CEO attire. This is a closed meeting. We're expecting Phoenix Enterprises representatives. I am Phoenix Enterprises, I replied smoothly, placing my briefcase on the table. Oh, Phoenix, CEO and majority shareholder. The color drained from my father's face as recognition dawned. Katherine stumbled back into her chair, her mouth opening and closing without sound. Olivia, my father finally managed. What is this? Some kind of joke? The only joke, I said, taking the seat at the head of the table, is how badly you've managed this company. Shall we review the numbers? I opened my briefcase, removing detailed financial reports. In the past 3 years, Hamilton Industries has lost 60% of its market share. Your debt has tripled. And, I looked directly at Katherine, there seemed to be some interesting discrepancies in the executive expense accounts. You can't. Katherine sputtered. You're nothing. You couldn't even handle being an analyst. Actually, I smiled, pressing a button that activated the room's screens, displaying Phoenix Enterprises' portfolio. I quit being an analyst because I was too busy building this. While you were charging personal vacations to the company account, I was creating an empire worth billions. The board members were shifting uncomfortably, looking between me and my father. They'd already seen the preliminary merger documents, knew how desperately Hamilton Industries needed this deal. This is impossible, my father declared, though his voice shook. You can't be the CEO of Phoenix Enterprises? The person who's been buying up your debt for the past year? The one who now controls your company's fate? I raised an eyebrow. Would you like to see my credentials? My phone buzzed. A message from my legal team confirming that news of the pending acquisition was already leaking to the business press. Hamilton Industries stock would plummet if this deal fell through. Let's discuss the merger terms, I continued, distributing contracts. Phoenix Enterprises will acquire Hamilton Industries at $12 per share. Generous, considering your actual worth. Current management will be replaced immediately. Replaced? Katherine shrieked. You can't fire me. I'm executive vice president. You mean the executive vice president who embezzled $2.3 million for personal expenses? I slid a folder toward the board members. Complete with documentation of every unauthorized transaction, including that lovely villa in Spain you thought nobody knew about. The board members began murmuring, flipping through the evidence of Katherine's fraud. My father aged years in minutes, watching his legacy crumble. Why? He asked quietly. Why didn't you tell us you were a success? I finished for him. Would you have believed me? The daughter you kicked out of meetings? The one you said would never understand real business. I stood, smoothing my suit. You have 1 hour to sign the merger documents. After that, Phoenix Enterprises will call in all of Hamilton Industries' loans. Your choice, a graceful exit or a very public bankruptcy. The board members were already reaching for their pens, recognizing a losing battle when they saw one. Katherine sat frozen, her designer knockoff suddenly looking as fake as her corporate competence. Oh, and Katherine? I added, about that coffee order. I prefer my lattes with extra irony. 1 hour later, the merger documents were signed. Hamilton Industries, the company that had deemed me unworthy of its conference room, was now a subsidiary of Phoenix Enterprises. As the board members filed out, I remained seated at the head of the table, a position that was now rightfully mine. Security will escort you to clear out your offices, I informed my father and Katherine. You have until 5 p.m. You're really going through with this? My father asked, his voice hollow. Destroying your own family's legacy? Legacy? I laughed softly. You mean the legacy of belittling me at every turn? Of telling everyone I was the family disappointment? That legacy died long before today. Katherine, still struggling to process her new reality, tried one last time. We can work something out. Keep it in the family. Like you kept me in family meetings? I pressed a button on my phone and the screens displayed years of security footage. Every time they'd kicked me out of the conference room, every dismissive comment, every mockery of my capabilities. I've kept excellent records. My assistant entered with a stack of papers. Miss Phoenix, the press release is ready. Would you like to review the announcement of the new management structure? Read it, I instructed, watching my family's faces. Phoenix Enterprises announces complete restructuring of Hamilton Industries. Former CEO James Hamilton retiring due to personal reasons. Executive Vice President Katherine Hamilton resigning amid internal audit findings. You can't publish that. Katherine shrieked. It'll ruin me. Like you tried to ruin me? I turned to face her. How many times did you tell potential business partners that I was mentally unstable? That I couldn't handle corporate pressure? I have recordings of those conversations too. Security arrived to escort them to their offices. As they left, my father turned back one last time. I never thought you'd become this ruthless. You never thought I'd become anything at all, I replied. That was your first mistake. Over the next few weeks, Hamilton Industries transformed under Phoenix Enterprises' leadership. The stock price doubled once Katherine's financial misdeeds were quietly handled. My father's outdated management strategies were replaced with innovative approaches I'd developed while they thought I was wasting my potential. 1 month later, I sat in my office at Phoenix Tower reviewing the changes. The Hamilton Industries building now bore the Phoenix logo, its entire executive floor renovated and restaffed. Katherine had moved to a small apartment, her assets frozen pending investigation. My father had retreated to our family's lake house, his social circle as diminished as his influence. My assistant interrupted my thoughts. Your mother's here to see you. She's been waiting in reception for an hour. I watched on the security feed as she sat there, clutching her designer handbag, real this time, bought with money I'd given her years ago through anonymous donations she'd attributed to kind strangers. Tell her Miss Phoenix is in meetings all day, I replied. But she's welcome to leave a message with the service staff. I hear they're quite good at handling family matters. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just succeeding, it's succeeding so completely that those who doubted you have to live in the shadow of their own poor judgment. I picked up a framed photo from my desk. The last family picture taken before I'd quit my analyst position. They were all smiling condescendingly at me, certain of my failure. Now that photo sat in my office atop an empire they never believed I could build. Miss Phoenix, my assistant called again. The board of Wilson Corp is ready for their meeting. They're interested in discussing a potential acquisition. I smiled, straightening my suit. Another company, another deal, another opportunity to prove that success doesn't require family approval. Sometimes it just requires proving family wrong. After all, the best seat in any conference room isn't given. It's earned. And sometimes, the person they kick out of the meeting ends up owning the entire building. The Hamilton name might still be on some old company letterhead, but the Phoenix had risen far above their limitations. In the end, they hadn't just lost their company, they'd lost the right to underestimate me ever again. And that was worth more than any merger deal could ever be.